Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. Not going to be carbon fiber this time, but it's going to be really close. We're actually going to be doing some more Jeep parts that we've got, but this time we're actually going to be doing them in a brushed aluminum. And so a couple of different things to remember on brushed aluminum is that, of course, brushed, you want to keep it as straight as possible so that way it looks as good as it can and it mimics what it's really supposed to look like on a real brushed aluminum part or brushed metal part. The other thing is that inevitably you're going to get some wave, a little bit of movement in the pattern, just because on parts like these we are always going to have to move around the objects. So like whenever we go in and around objects like these here, the curves, things like that, sometimes there's no way around that. And so it's always a good idea to definitely kind of talk with your customer, tell them that, look, it may not be exactly perfect because of the way that things are shaped, but it'll still look really good. And so a couple of different things that we've done here is we've of course taped off an area right here to make sure that we don't get any paint, primer, dip, or clear coat in it, as well as we've painted these a darker metallic gray. And so this is actually one of the base colors that we use for our carbon fiber, but it's still going to look really good with the brushed aluminum. And so you can kind of get an idea from this extra piece here of what this will actually look like. So it'll actually have that darker look to it, and then still with the silver coming through on the brushed aluminum, it'll look really good. It'll make it pop a lot more. Now, of course, you can make that a lot more subtle. You can go through and actually do like a silver metallic base coat or anything like that to mimic more of like a more natural brushed aluminum. Or also you can go with any of the crazy colors that you want and have a type of brushed aluminum like that with like a red or a blue or a green, pretty much whatever the customer prefers. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and get started on these. We've got our film already cut out. Now the film that we're using is going to be the CF15. I'll have it in the description below if you're curious on the film and everything. And so on this one right here, we're going to start with this one here. Not much to these as far as curve wise. We've got a little bit of curve right here, a little bit of curve right here. So inevitably, as that pattern is running up, it may possibly have a little bit of a dip or a movement right in here, but pretty much that's going to be about it. And same thing with this one. The biggest thing is that you want to try to keep it as straight as possible whenever you're dipping, so then that way the brushed material, it looks like it's as straight as possible. So let's go ahead, let's get this in the water and get started with this. So one thing to remember is that we're going to have 60 seconds on the clock at 80 to 90 degrees, just the standard set time for any of our dips that we currently have. And so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to, now I've got a little bit of extra right here. I went ahead and cut extra, so that's not really a big deal. We can just take this and move that out like that. And then we'll pull this back down into here. And so you can see, this is always why it's good to cut extra. I still have plenty of room to miss this entire portion right here in case we do put it in there, water gets on there, something like that. It's not really a big deal. We can go ahead and dip it just like this. So this is still going to be just fine. So now on something like this, you definitely have to have steady and smooth hands as you're going down into the water. So we got our 60 seconds on the timer. We're going to grab our activator. Again, this is just the Liquid Concepts activator, and we're going to spray it with 2 passes here. So we got our first pass just like that, and then we'll follow up with about a 20% overlap. Alright, so now that we've got all of that, now we're going to sit it just like so. And remember, we want to try to keep it as straight as possible. And then always keep that angle going down into the water. Alright, so there we go. So we'll switch this away a little bit and then pull that back out like that. And there we go. That is a beautiful piece. It looks like we got good coverage all the way around. Of course, whenever we rinse it, we'll get a lot of that excess off of there. But again, you know, on something like this, we're going to have some of those areas that's going to pull in like this and like this right here. Inevitably, that's just going to be the way that it's going to happen because of the curves that we have on these areas like that. But other than that, dip turned out really good. I think the customer's really going to love it. So we're going to go ahead, get this rinsed, and get the other one dipped. All right, so we're on to the second dip now. First one came out really good, so we're going to go ahead, get this in the water, and get started with it. All right, so again, 60 seconds on the water, just like all of our other films that we've got. And then we're just going to pull this down, and I'm actually going to take this right here, pull it out just a little bit, just so that I can move my dividers back in and get those closed up as close as I can to it. So we got about 20 more seconds left, about 30 more seconds left on the clock, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some gloves on and then we'll get started. Alright, so we got 60 seconds on the clock, timer just went off, so let's go ahead and get this sprayed and get it dipped. Alright, everything looks like it's glassed out really well, and so again, we're going to take this. Now I'm going to try to follow this body line that's right up through here. So I'm going to try to keep this as straight as possible and just start going down into the water just like this, all the way down. And again, you'll notice that I'm keeping an angle throughout the entire time that I'm dipping. So I'm not coming down and just dipping like this. I'm actually keeping it just like this, going all the way down into the water. And that's definitely crucial because you don't want to get any trapped air. And so again, with something like this, looks like everything turned out really good. We got a little bit of excess up here. It'll rinse off in the rinse. But other than that, everything came out really good. So I think the customer's definitely going to love this. We get a good coat of clear on here and it's going to look really good. So let's go ahead and get it rinsed, get some clear coat on it, and show you guys the final product. So stay tuned. Alright, so we've got everything clear coated on the dash pieces that we did in the brushed aluminum. Everything looks amazing. So customer actually wanted to go with a satin clear instead of a high gloss, which actually looks really good. The customer used to have the red that came from the factory, and it was more of a satin finish, and he wanted to match that, but of course in a custom brushed aluminum that was dipped. And so what we did was we used our flat clear. It's the dang, I forgot the number now. We use the MC600, which is our flat clear. We actually mix this at different ratios to get different results, because you can actually do a semi-gloss, you can do like an eggshell, or you can do a flat finish depending on how you want the part to come out. And so in this case, we actually, on this one, we actually did the 6:1, which is the flat finish. Now it's not a dead flat, but it is really flat. It really matched the existing finish that was already on there really well, so that's essentially what we did. And so I think these parts came out really well. Of course, as you saw in the video, we had taped all this off to begin with, but now after having the trim back on it, all the black on it, you've got a really nice contrast. Everything looks really good, and I think the customer's definitely going to love it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know we always do. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you guys, as well as any of the stuff that we've used in the video, we're going to have in the link below, in the description below on links, so then that way you can see what all we use and how to get the exact same results. So if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you subscribe to all of our weekly tips and tricks, as well as if you like the video, definitely give us a big thumbs up. We'd love to see that. So I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and we're making Hydrographics great again. We'll see you guys next week.